I've been a fan of the Metal Slug series for as long as I can remember, dating all the way back to their dedicated arcade machines in addition to their numerous console releases. So when I caught wind of the reveal trailer during the 2021 Summer Game Fest for a new entry in the series, I knew I had to get my hands on it. Developed by the French company Laqueur Studio and published by Dotemu, the same Dotemu that also published the excellent TMNT Shredder's Revenge, Metal Slug Tactics is a turn-based tactics take on the classic SNK-era run-and-gun shooter featuring rogue-lite elements. In Metal Slug Tactics, you command the elite task force of the Peregrine Falcons on a mission to defeat the rebel army, led by the recurring series main villain, General Morden. For reference, I've completed the game on its normal difficulty, unlocking all characters and completing what is considered the true ending of the game, and I can say that I really enjoyed my time with this game and do recommend it if you're a fan of tactics games, especially if you also happen to be a Metal Slug fan. So, let's get into it, starting off with a brief summary of the gameplay loop. Not everything that can be experienced is possible on a single playthrough. Rather, the game's content is experienced completing multiple runs in order to unlock permanent progression items to aid you in future runs. The game begins at your home base, where out of the 9 total available characters, you will select 3 who will make up your party before heading out to the world map. Character types generally consist of ranged weapon users, up-close melee weapon users, and grenadiers who can target elevations other than their own. The world map is divided into 4 regions consisting of unique enemy quirks and environmental hazards for the player to consider, culminating in their own unique boss fights as well. Upon selecting a region, you'll have your choice of up to 3 missions to complete before the boss fight for that region triggers automatically. Every mission has its own objective for the primary win condition, as well as an optional secondary objective for an additional reward. Keep in mind though that certain resources, such as your HP, special ammunition, and lives to revive your party members do not replenish automatically, so you would be wise to keep an eye on the condition of your party before taking on certain mission types. Upon completion of a region, you'll find yourself at your outpost where you can use your accumulated coins to purchase weapon mods and other assets to strengthen your team before heading back out to the world map. If you fail the primary mission objective or if all party members die, it's game over and your run ends. Any unspent coins will be converted into credits you can spend back at your home base before starting up another run. Metal Slug Tactics plays a bit differently from your typical tactical game when it comes to offense and defense. The game expects you to play in a more offensive, movement-oriented manner as opposed to a defensive, shoot behind cover until enemies are dead one that you would see from other games like Gears Tactics or XCOM. 2 important items are dependent on character movement: dodge and adrenaline. Dodge is a numerical value that represents the amount of damage your character will resist from each enemy attack throughout the entire enemy turn. So if this value is high enough, you can move right into enemy territory and nullify most, if not all, damage received. Adrenaline, on the other hand, is a resource used to activate special actions. The more distance your unit covers during their turn will generate both higher dodge and adrenaline, allowing you to execute very powerful offensive strategies. Limiting your character movement will often quickly get you killed, so I really appreciated this design philosophy of the game as it stays on brand with the run and gun theme of the Metal Slug series. Adding to your offensive strategies are synchronization attacks. These are attacks performed automatically when you attack an enemy within range of an allied character's primary weapon. Although this only triggers once per action, participating allies don't consume their action, and therefore sync attacks still stack when triggered with your other party members. If set up properly, you can use these attacks to kill more enemies in a single turn, as well as immediately eliminate high HP enemies. Over the course of your run, you'll also have the opportunity to progress the skill set of your party through various methods. Satisfying mission objectives, leveling up your characters, and accumulating coins will allow you to acquire additional skills, weapon mods, and one-time use assets that provide additional support, such as healing your entire party, or even deploying a Metal Slug vehicle onto the battlefield. Furthermore, at the end of a run, any coins acquired may be used to purchase additional character loadouts, which change the default primary and secondary weapons for that character, including their special actions and passive skills. In my experience, I often found the initial default loadouts to be more aligned with my gameplay style. However, I do like this addition as it adds even more variety to potential party configurations. And speaking of party configurations, there are 6 additional characters that can be unlocked over the course of multiple runs. Some of these characters are incredibly powerful if you take the time to learn them. For example, the character Leona makes use of support units known as after images, who not only attract enemy fire away from your party and deal damage to adjacent units if they're attacked, but they'll also participate in sync attacks with your party for even additional damage. Another example is the melee character Trevor, who has a special action called Shinobi, where for as much adrenaline as he has remaining, he can continuously attack enemies in range as long as the action doesn't kill the target. Should you store up a large amount of adrenaline, this special action alone can absolutely shred through the high HP of bosses. Speaking of bosses, Metal Slug Tactics features several of them as throwbacks to prior Metal Slug entries. While each boss has their distinct style of combat, they all tend to attack in repeating patterns, so learning this is crucial to positioning your party appropriately to dish out maximum damage as well as to survive. Bosses also have a special ability that prevents them from experiencing more than one sync attack per turn, so keep that in mind to make each sync attack count. With their high HP, the bosses in this game can seem intimidating at first, and certainly gave me trouble the first few times. However, a general tip I'll suggest is to focus on the boss as much as possible, and only take out enemies as need be if they prove troublesome. Enemy reinforcements often get called in, and considering a lack of healing available, stretching out boss fights will eventually only overwhelm you and lead to your death. While I did enjoy my time with Metal Slug Tactics, I do have a few criticisms and areas of improvement, most of which center around the user interface. Navigating the UI can at times feel a little funky. I understand that with tactics games such as this, there's often the need to convey a lot of useful information to the player while competing for screen real estate. However, I couldn't help but get the impression that there exists a more simplified version of the UI for this game that could have been implemented. Furthermore, I found the implementation of selection confirmations to be odd. By default, ending your turn during a mission requires you to long press a button, and if your allies still have available moves or actions to take, the game prompts you with a final warning to confirm you wish to proceed. However, elsewhere in the game, such as when purchasing items in Rumi's shop, you only have to single tap the same button to make a purchase, with no option to undo your last action if it was made by accident. Even on the world map, when selecting a region, the UI communicates that you can press a button to go back. However, the game doesn't actually allow you to return back to the previous screen. Aside from this, a few minor bugs were observed as well, such as with certain items missing descriptions. Overall though, I found no issues major enough to warrant any significant concern. One area of improvement that I would really like added to the game would be a short GIF-like video that plays when viewing any special action or passive ability, so that the player can actually visualize how it functions in action. In closing, I found Metal Slug Tactics to be a refreshing take on the long-standing series, and would highly recommend it to any fan of turn-based tactics games. With its implementation of rogue-like elements, it offers tons of variety and replay value with its multiple party configurations, character loadouts, weapon mods, difficulty settings, and much more. It's also a game that's easy to hop into for a quick gaming session of a couple of missions or so, and I found its base difficulty to be challenging enough to force you to think, but not so punishing that it discourages experimentation. Some aspects of the user interface didn't feel as streamlined as they could be, however, I didn't come across anything game-breaking either. So, if you're in the mood for some run and gun action with a bit of strategy tossed in, definitely check this one out. Well, that's it for the video guys. As always, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to be notified of when new videos release. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on Metal Slug Tactics. Till next time.